Well, hello. This is Rochelle, and welcome to my channel. For today, I'm going to be playing a bit in my art journal, and this is an Art by Marlene journal. I love these because you can take out the pages and actually work on them outside of the book and then just put them back in when you're done, which just makes that perfectly flat kind of option much easier. And today I'm using some Ella Roetz printables in my art journaling. I haven't done this in a while, so I really wanted to just kind of play around a bit and get some paint and some texture down, and also just playing with some of Ella's stencils, which I picked up from La Rochelle Crafts. I will put down the link below for their online store. We do courier and all of that. But yes, so let's get into the playing. This is a 300 GSM watercolor or mixed media kind of paper, and it's quite durable and strong without buckling and all of that fun art journal kind of terms that you need to know about an art journal, and making the art journal fun. Now, by no means do I say you have to have this journal. I've worked in the handmade journals and I've made my own journals, and there are videos to link that or that I can link for you to watch on my channel, how I made an envelope journal and all of those kinds of things, and they're great. I've even made a recycled cookbook where you kind of just have to stick a few pages together to make it thick enough to be able to work on it. But in the end, I really do kind of enjoy this paper a whole lot. It really does work quite well. Yeah. Method behind the process. What art journaling is really is you trying out different things that you've never tried. The easiest, best part of it is that if it's a fail, it's a fail. That's okay. And for me, it gets me out of that madness of kind of, I have to, paint in lines and be perfect. That gets me right out of that part. And so it really does challenge me a little bit to just move a little bit out of my comfort zone. So just used some green and yellow and red. And the green and yellow are obviously complementary colors. No, they are the adjacent colors on the wheel, so they kind of blend. And the complementary color is the red, which is opposite the green on the color wheel. So all of that is kind of nice to know, especially if you want colors to pop. And that's why this red is kind of popping off the green, because it is a complementary color. So that's why I chose those three colors. Actually, just really colors I like, and or that I like in art journaling, should I rather say. So I did the stenciling using a sponge and the acrylic paint. I'm going to try and do this negative stenciling, the stencil color lift kind of thing that I saw Yvonne Nolta do, and she is just thebomb.com. There is no one like that woman when it comes to scrapbooking and art journaling and just all kinds of, she is such a wealth of knowledge that I love learning from her. So greatly inspired by her. And my negative lift kind of worked. I used a wet wipe just to straight away kind of lift that color up through the stencil, and did this crosses in kind of a cross direction and not a straight direction. I don't know, multiplication sign versus plus sign. Can we talk about that? Maybe that can work. And then obviously use some of the leftover white paint just to do some splatters. Added a little bit of water, took a brush, mixed it together. The more water in the belly of your brush, the thicker your splatters will be, or the bigger your splatters will be. The less water in the belly of your brush, the finer your splatters will be. Just kind of sort of a rule of thumb out there. Yeah, you didn't necessarily need to watch me clean, but there is that. So for a bit of extra texture and a bit of extra background, I'm taking this big texture stamp and just kind of inking it up with my VersaFine clear ink. I think this is the Nocturne. And I'm just kind of stamping it off not perfect impressions, not, some second generation stamping even, just getting that kind of texture and combining the whole thing together because the stamping goes over all of the other textures. I wanted to grab some gelatos and put that in the mix as well, which is, again, like I said, what makes art journaling great is because really it allows you the space and the time to try multiple different medias and elements and get them onto your page, your layout. I am using a stencil by Ella Roetz as well. Like I said, some of her new stencils, they are just gorgeous. And then I'm using a lunar gelato. This is a gelato from the iridescence range, and it is white when it is on white paper, so you can't see it. But the minute you put it on a darker background, it has this, well, iridescent glow and shimmer, and just pops of purple, and I just kind of really enjoy that. And purple being then the complementary color for yellow, I think that is my method behind my madness. I'm using a very fine, very delicate makeup blending brush, just because I don't want this paper to tear, and the stencil is also kind of very delicate, so just using that to have that out there. And then some more red with my Fabric-Style big brush pen, and adding the little hearts from the stencil just here and there. Trying, the rule of threes. Not that I know the rule of threes, I just know that as a design element, if you do a layout, kind of threes are flowing for the eye. So there's that. And I'm using these 3 flowers from the Ella Roetz printable and sticking them down varying heights across the 2 pages. And the actual printable is called Just Believe, and it is about Mark, or in the book of Mark in the Bible, where Jesus speaks and says, it's not if I can, because the guy said to him, if you can heal her, please, Lord. And Jesus said, it's not if I can, it's if you can believe. So believe. And it's such a controversial topic, and I don't always see healing immediately, but I know that God heals and he does want to. So I needed to just spend some time with Father God, especially in a time such as this. And then obviously, Grace comes to join me, as she so often does when I have paint all over and water in my cup. This is clean water. I just cleaned off my brushes. So I did grab some clean water for for doing this, and she's coming to drink the clean water out of here. And it's not that she doesn't have a water bowl. She has a water bowl. And yeah, she just loves this Fabric-Style Click and Go water pot. So I'm just I scribbled with some black or dark gray. Well, first I tried the dark gray, but it wasn't dark enough, and so I actually used black Pit Artist pen onto a non-stick craft mat, picked it up with a wet brush, and kind of just adding some shadows. So I like using this way of adding shadows just because you can still kind of blend it out, and with the water it kind of mutes as it dries, but I did want it kind of to just have those flowery parts pop off or pop out, or however you want to say it. At first I put it on both sides, the shadow, but then decided I wanted to have like the light coming from the one side, and then that also didn't quite feel right for me, so in the end I think I added the darker color on both sides while Grace drinks some more water. Yes, well, no comment. So here's me adding it on the other side too, just kind of not as thick, I suppose, as I did on the first side, and just really lightly, just kind of want to have that white pop off a bit more from the background page. I'm going to add a title or a verse on the side here, understanding, or from the mindset that the Just Believe that is in the top right corner is kind of the title there, or the little sentiment there, and then taking my words and just cutting them freehand, just feeling, if it's far enough from the one side to the other side. This is Grace now cleaning her face while I'm cutting my words. So just kind of eyeballing the measurements here, really not doing a stellar job in being precise, but it's not about being precise. It really is just spending that time being creative, meditating kind of on the word that speaks here in Mark. And it is our faith. It's our faith that Jesus says, because we believe, it has made us well. And it's not always in our time. Sometimes it's definitely in God's time. And I needed to spend that time and energy just meditating on that. Took my white gel pen and just wrote down the verse address there at the bottom. And I kind of am just going to outline my white pieces of words so that it just has that little bit of extra shadow or visibility or pop off. I think I've said pop off on this video more than anything else. But there you go. That's then my kind of finished page. Just adding the eye on the just believe and finishing off where some of the shadow came onto the white pieces, and I did want them white. Adding some white gel pen and then adding a date, just because I want to come back to this and remember the time I spent in the Word, and then also being creative, seeing the journey and seeing how I grow. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you again soon. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Bye-bye.